Alright, so if you don't already know, currently in Outcome Memories version 0.1, there are currently 7 survivors. And I'm sure that we can all agree on right now that Tails is probably the most complained about survivor. Now there's obviously room to argue. If you don't think Tails is the most complained about survivor, or you think someone else is worse, feel free to put your opinion down in the comments. But in this video, we're specifically going to be talking about Tails and what I think they can add to make him a better survivor, or overall just a more tolerable character for the community. Now before we get into what I think they should change about him, let's get into Tails' current kit right now. Currently, Tails has 100 HP and 2 moves. And Tails also has a passive where whenever the executioner gets close to him, the executioner will be automatically highlighted. Now this passive allows Tails to almost never be able to get caught off guard, because just like Amy's Sonic card, this also works while the executioner is invisible. Now Tails' first move, Laser Cannon, is pretty simple. So you start charging up, Laser Cannon for about 5 seconds, and once you charge it and it's ready to go, you can hold it until you're ready to shoot it. Now I get more into the pros and cons of his moves later, but for now, Tails' second move is called Glide. Now this move is pretty self-explanatory. Upon activation, you start gliding into the air, holding space to glide higher into the air, and clicking E to cancel. Now with his base moveset out the way, let's talk about the pros and cons of Tails' character and why people think he's bad. Now the pros of Tails' character is that on maps like Not Perfect, he's actually the perfect character to play. Get it? Because the map is called Not Perfect? Okay, my bad. This map is basically Tails' playground. It holds a lot of high towers that allows Tails to go on top of them, and since his laser cannon has infinite range, he can see the killer from anywhere on the map and shoot him from anywhere. This is perfect for Tails' playstyle. Another reason why this map is just so perfect for Tails is because he can use his glide to get across the entire map in seconds, and he can also use his glide to go under the map when in chase by the killer and come out somewhere completely different. Now let's get into Tails' cons, cause oh boy is there a lot. Now the biggest complaint I hear from Tails mains is that once the executioner closes in on you, unless your team is just really good at protecting you, there's little to nothing that you can do. Especially if you're not playing on Not Perfect and your glide is on cooldown, Tails becomes almost useless. Now compared to literally every other character, even Cream, in close quarters, Tails can't do anything against the executioner. And it doesn't help that the only current killer in the game, 2011X, can completely counter Tails' glide by just clicking charge and grabbing you right out the air. Even if it's not the most beneficial for the 2011X to grab a flying Tails out of the air, for some reason in this game, 2011Xs get a tick in their brain every time they see a Tails gliding in the air and immediately click charge and go after them. Even though it's small, even Cream has some sort of defense against this. Cream can either use her dash to cancel the EXE's charge, or use her dash to bounce off of a wall, causing for a lot of juke potential while he's charging at her. Or a good Cream will use the heal at perfect timing to allow her to use the iframes to not even be touched by the grab. But the only hope Tails has is hoping that you can juke the killer while gliding away from him. Now I know there's really good Tails players out there who can make really good plays with the character, but for the most part, this just makes Tails not a fun character to play as of right now. Now we're gonna talk about what I think the developers could do to make Tails a better character. Now let's talk about glide. And before I talk about how it should be reworked, let's talk about the problems with it. Whenever you activate glide, if you don't jump, there's a 50-50 chance it will automatically cancel because it thinks that you're trying to descend because you collided with what's under you. This can also happen even if you do jump. And this is a major problem, especially in chase, because not only is it a waste of a cooldown, it allows the killer to immediately get another hit on you, likely resulting in your death. Now the devs have came out and stated that this is a bug that they're working on to fix, but this is a very bad bug to have when Tails is basically already rendered as useless. Now let's talk about how I think this should be reworked. I think Tails' glide shouldn't be a move, but instead just be a passive. And this passive should work similar to, if not the exact same, that Eggman's double jump passive works. The same way Eggman goofingly jump around a lot in all the games and how it's just tied to his character is the same way Tails gliding with his tails is tied to his character. Mechanically, this just makes sense for them to always have. In the same way that Eggman's passive is activated by double clicking space to double jump, I think Tails' passive should be the same way. After jumping into the air, clicking space again will allow you to glide, because this way, it completely stops the bug where you collide with the surface under you by not jumping. And I think the cooldown for glide should be slightly longer than the double jump, if not just a little bit longer, and it should display next to his character with the bar, just like Eggman. And then boom, problem solved for Tails' glide. Now if the devs decide to do this, this will leave Tails with -1 move, so he'd have an extra spot for a new move. Now they've been talking about giving a grapple move to either Metal Sonic or another character, and I feel like this would be a perfect spot to implement it into. But even more so perfect, I think they should add a move where Tails throws tools and bolts at the EXE, kinda like how he does in Sonic Boom. And I think this move should work just like Shadow's gun, where it's quick projectiles of tools that he throws at the EXE, building up a meter, and once the meter gets full, the EXE takes a full stun. Or they could give Tails both the grapple and the tool throwing move, which would give Tails a total of 3 moves, cause they did say they would give every character a third move by version 0.3. I feel like doing this would make Tails feel much more original and would shoot him up multiple tiers, and people would love to play him much more. Now the last thing I feel like they should change about Tails' kit, and this one is pretty subjective, but I feel like Tails should be able to move a little faster while charging laser cannon. I mean, think about it. Metal Sonic has a move that stuns just as long as Tails' laser cannon, if not longer, and it's instant and charges towards the EXE. And I know Metal Sonic has his disadvantages too, but since when did Tails' laser cannon weigh like 1,000 bricks? And I know it's a really good stun if landed, but I just think he shouldn't move that slow while charging it, especially if it takes that long to charge. We've all seen how good Tails can be when you use the bug when you can charge while moving. I feel like Tails should just be in general that good, or relative to that good already. No, I'm not saying he should be able to completely sprint while charging it, but he should be able to move at least a little bit faster while charging it than he already does. Now I feel as if you take my advice and make Tails glide a passive, make it to where he moves a little faster while charging his laser cannon, and give him a new original move where he can throw bolts at the EXE to stun him, and give him the grapple, I feel like Tails would easily go up to A tier or maybe even S tier. Now, of course the devs will have to balance this to make sure it's not busted, but I feel like if they did this will make Tails just much more of a funner character to play, and people wouldn't complain about him nearly as much, and I don't think it would make him too broken. But hey, this is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments if y'all think this is too much, or if you think something different should be done to Tails to make him more fun and better. And with that being said, I'll see y'all on the next one.